filmmakers of the 21st century. And whether that be the Aquarian age or whatever you want to call it, it's the 21st century, 10 years from now, and we're right at the threshold. The end of the millennium, 2,000 years of Christian culture will be coming to a close around the year 2000. And hey, this is a heavy time to be alive. You people are going to take us into the 21st century. I want my mind blown. I want to go into the, I want to go into a movie theater, and I want you to just knock me out. Just take me somewhere. Show me something. And right now, I guess that's about all I really have to say. I'll tell you what, if anybody has any questions about anything, that's what we'll do. Why don't we entertain questions from the audience? So, anybody has anything to ask about The Doors, Jim Morrison, or UCLA? Go ahead, right here, man. How do I get involved? Oh. Well, as soon as I can talk somebody into giving me $3 million, yeah, that's the hard part. We're trying to make L.A. Woman into a movie, and I've got this great story. And I've been working, I just got, as a matter of fact, came here from working with guy Scott Richardson down in Venice, and he's a scriptwriter. And it's a story about female consciousness and, again, love. I'm going to be stuck making movies about love. That's all I can really make movies about. Love and men and women and love and sex and danger and all that. So it's a while off, man. I got to raise some money. Okay, anybody else? Jim's movie's lost. That's gone. That went into, I don't think it made it into the archives. It was like, we used to watch movies at something called 3K7, and there were bungalows before there was this magnificent structure. And I guess you did the same thing. At the end of the semester, the students show their movies. Is that what happens? Students show their movies and everybody critiques it? Yes? Yeah. Right. Well, Jim's movie didn't go through the projector too well, unfortunately. It was brilliant, and it was very poetic, but he couldn't make a splice. Manual dexterity was not his forte, so he couldn't quite get it. He showed it once, and it kept breaking, and then he had to do it again. But it was really good. It had some great scenes in it. Elka, big German chick, was dancing on top of the TV set, wearing underwear and garter hose and whatnot. And they turned the TV on. John DeBella was the cameraman, and they turned the TV on, and what's on the television set but Nazis marching into wherever the hell they were marching into. And there's Elka dancing on top of the TV set. Great scene. And then Jim cuts quickly to darts being thrown into a Playboy bunny photograph, centerfold, and you see this sort of the shadow. As the dart would hit, the shadow was off to the side, sort of like two of them went together. It was really a good shot. Cut to Jim taking a big hit off of a real huge joint. And it was very good film, very poetic. It was not a story, it was poetry, and it was terrific, but it's gone. It exists in here, and that's about it. Yeah. I met Jim right here, like this, just hanging around, a bunch of guys, a couple of chicks, and out to the gypsy wagon, the student union, get something to drink, something to eat, and we started talking about, beatnik poetry, Jack Kerouac. See, we saw ourselves as the next generation after the beatniks living down in Venice, and there weren't any beatniks left at the time. It was like 63, 4 or 5. So just retired people, and you UCLA film students mainly. And we get stoned down there, dream dreams, just like you guys, you know. Oh, what are we going to do when we graduate? Okay, let's take over the world. Let's do all kinds of crazy things. So we met right here at the film school. Yeah, okay, yeah, right. We graduate, I get a MA, Jim got a BA, and he was going to go to New York City. Right around the time of graduation, I said, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to go to New York and probably make experimental films, Jonas Mekas, film culture and all that. And I said, well, cool. I'm going to stay here because I just, you know, I've only been here a couple of years. So I'm going to see what I can get going in Los Angeles. And about a month and a half later, I had nothing at all going. What am I going to do with my life? I finished school. It's all over. I can't keep going to school forever. I'm 25 years old. What the fuck am I going to do with myself? So I'm sitting on the beach. Dorothy had a job, the Chinese girl in the movie. Japanese, right? Dorothy had a job. She was supporting us, and I worked on Friday and Saturday nights with Rick and the Ravens at the Turkey Joint West, and the rest of the time sat on the beach thinking, what am I going to do? Scripts, stories, fuck, I don't know. And walking down the beach, here comes, middle of July, here comes Jim Morrison, looking tan, lean, strong, golden, and like Michelangelo's David, his hair had grown out. And he looked fucking great. I said, Jim, hey, Jim. And he came over to me and I said, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to New York. He said, no, I decided to stay here and write some songs. I've been living up on Dennis Jacobs' rooftop writing songs. I said, writing songs? Whoa, yeah? Can you sing one for me? And he sat down on the beach and dug his hands into the sand, and the sand is pouring out, and kind of hunkered down next to me, and he started to sing Moonlight Drive. Let's swim to the moon, let's climb through the tide, penetrate the evening that the city sleeps to hide. And I thought, whoa, spooky, psychedelic, heavy, whoa. Then I started playing along behind it, just hearing what I could do, dot, 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 all that stuff that could be done. I said, those are the greatest lyrics I've ever heard, man, for a rock and roll song. That's incredible. The Beatles at the time were doing She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah. The Stones were doing Chicago Blues, and that was like, that's no big deal. I grew up in Chicago. They're just doing Muddy Waters and Jimmy Reed and all that stuff, and getting away with it and being national headlines. God, how did they do it? And here comes Morrison with the spookiest, most psychedelic. The lyrics had to do with love, travel, and death. That's psychedelic. That's what it's all about. Let's get a rock and roll band together, and he said, that's what I want to do, so the rest is history. You know. What is there is what is there, and but digest it thoroughly. That's what you have to do. Listen to the words. It really is, there's a lot going on. 6 albums, studio albums, is more than enough, frankly. Okay.
I wanted to ask, there was an article in the LA Times this past week, real small, in the calendar section, about an untitled poetry, is it? Yeah. Coming out in July?
Yeah.
Can you
what is that?
about that?
Well, that's an interesting story. There's a project for Indian children, Feed the Children, and American Indians, and they came to us and asked for a small bit of Jim's poetry. And I'm not sure exactly, since I don't control Jim Morrison's poetry, unfortunately. That's controlled by his father, well, Pamela's father. Actually, Pam and Jim were never married. They were common law, but the courts have found that they were married. So when he died, everything went to her. When she died, she didn't have a will, and everything went to her father. So he's only met Jim like 4 or 5 times. He controls James Douglas Morrison Publishing. So he has given them some of Jim's readings from the American Prayer Session. And this guy, you hear, Corky? This asshole. But I have to deal with this guy who didn't know Jim or anything. Oh, God, it's just a big